Hey guys, it's Casey and welcome back to my channel and welcome to what might actually be the most privileged crash out on the entire internet. So today I am ranting once more again about housing in the modern West and exactly how much I hate housing in the modern West and how absolutely stupid and not fit for purpose it is. And I know I've made videos ranting about the absolute abomination that is the modern Western housing development project, but I'm going to do it again because that is today's mood. Actually, I don't feel like it's particularly fair to say that this is the most privileged crash out on the internet as I did initially, because that's not exactly true. Because yes, what has inspired this video is my great yearning for the mansion that I lived in when I was in my late teens, early 20s. And yes, I would give an arm and a leg, quite literally give an arm and a leg, to return to that house and never have to set foot in one of these horrible establishments ever again. But it's not only that. It's not only the mansion when I stop to think about it. I would like to go back to when I was living on an island with my best friend my best friend and I, we were living in a house on the island and I was living in the lighthouse, and the house there was shit. It was so shit. It only had electricity in the kitchen and the bathroom, and we didn't have running water in the bathroom. Well, we had running water in terms of it drew water up from the ocean into the sink in the bath, but the toilet just opened up into the actual ocean itself. So we didn't even have running water that we could drink, like potable water that we could drink in that regards. So that was a pretty shit house too, but I would still prefer to move back to that house than to ever live in a modern Western housing development. Because modern houses stink. They smell really, really bad. They smell like Shrek's swamp. All of them, every single house that I've ever been in the modern West, in the Siliconian era, has stunk to high heaven. It doesn't matter if it was here in Australia, in the outback, Australia, or Melbourne, Australia, or California, or Hawaii, which is where I was first living, London, they stunk. South Carolina, they stunk too. They were probably the least smelly houses that I've been in, but I think that's because the ocean smell there was really, really strong. Well, that, and I also think the age of a house plays a part in how badly it smells here, because the older a house is, the less it tends to smell. Like, it still smells. All the houses here smell. I think it has something to do with the pipes. But if your house was built after like 2003, we'll go with, it reeks. It is disgusting. It smells like sewage. It smells like rotten eggs. And I hate going into them. So I'm very happy that at least where I live, this I think was built in like the 60s or 70s. So it doesn't smell that bad. There's a lot of fresh air coming through. New builds, not so much fresh air and a lot of stunk. And over the past few years, I've spent some time in new build houses and I've tried to pinpoint exactly where the bad smell is coming from. But the best that I can kind of wheel it down to is that there's multiple sources of the bad smell. First and foremost, I think it's just the very cheap materials that are used to build these houses, like the wood in the cabinets. They're not so much wood as it is just sawdust held together by cheap formaldehyde-based resins, which in and of themselves stink. Like, even if you just smell that kind of stuff, it stinks. So the fact that your entire house is pieced together like a puzzle using that shit, it's not nice. And then there is the added problem that adds to the stench of the flooring and the carpet, which is all artificial. You strip it away to its most basic microfibers, and it's basically just a giant sheet of petroleum all over your floor that you're walking on every single day. No wonder your feet stink, but that is a completely different video. But even that, as an artificial fiber, excretes volatile organic compound like benzene and petroleum, which, ew, gross. I don't want to be walking around in people's oily feet juice that has chemicals all yuck. Like, I'm not even a chemical person. I don't think chemicals in and of themselves are bad, but they do smell. Okay, they smell really, really bad. Then let's back up to the fact that your houses have no natural airflow through them, and so they're basically just teeny tiny beige coloured coffins that have sealed up tighter than a Crohn's patient's colon after surgery. Oh my god, it's a terrible analogy. It's a great analogy, but it's an evil analogy. Anyway, evilness aside, going back to the fact that your houses have no natural airflow, especially new build houses, which is why I think older houses don't smell as bad. Like I said, they still smell, just not as bad, which I think is largely due to the fact that they are built with more natural materials like stone and pure brick, where new build houses are built with really artificial materials and in some cases like 3D printed, because apparently that's the thing that happens now. Why anyone would want to live in a plastic house is beyond me. Did we not all learn the story of the 3 pigs with their houses who got blown down by the wolf? Why would you want to live in the most structurally unsound house? Who knows? I wouldn't want to live in the most structurally unsound house, but y'all do crazy things every day, so far be it for me to judge. But houses do stink, and I think a large reason why they smell so bad is that you have no natural airflow, and so every single little smell that enters the house, whether it be cooking or pets or cleaning products or beauty products, the air in which the particles are sitting in has nowhere to escape to, and so it all just sits around and festers in the house and sinks down into the software forevermore, never to be gone, and it just builds upon scent upon scent upon scent, which, really just adds to the overwhelming aura and stench, again, of new build houses. Add to the fact that because these houses have no breathing room, they're naturally prone to moisture from showers or even just exhaling too much in its presence. And this adds a very scrumptious smell to the new build house that you can never quite pin down because it's festering behind the drywall where the human eye can't see, which is not helped by the fact that seemingly every other new development is built directly on top of a floodplain, a known floodplain. Like, why do you think no one ever built a house there before? This lovely location, 20 minutes from the heart of the city. Why did no one ever build a house there before? Why? Do you think that they just thought it was so aesthetically pleasing the way that it spent half its year underwater? No, it's because they weren't idiots, unlike the people building there now who are very much idiots. And also add to the fact, oh my God, there are so many facts, but they just keep coming to me. By building on so much land, you are essentially dooming yourself to a lifetime of rodent problems, because where are the rats going to go? No wonder your rats are the size of house cats. No wonder hantavirus is going to be a big thing. Anyway, the point is that the end result of all this added together is a very stinky new build house that has the airflow of a 19th century coal mine and the structural integrity of a wet cardboard box. So enjoy living in that. But honestly, you may as well live in the stupid houses, in the stupid new build smelly houses, because what else is there? What else are you going to do with a beautiful house? I could hand you a beautiful house and none of you would know what to do with it, because none of you know how to entertain or decorate. Even when I see people who try to decorate things, they're just convoluted and contrived and not very pretty. You can see exactly that there's no soul in. They literally just decorated the entire house in a week. They went out and mass brought everything. They weren't finding beautiful things that spoke to them. They just, I want to go with this aesthetic, so I'm going to buy everything right here and right now and put it up on the wall. That's not a home. That is literally the same as everyone else's house. You just spend a lot more money on it. It's just disposable, tacky crap. It's got no personality, it's got no substance, it's got no future, it's just plastic. It is a plastic furniture in a plastic house for plastic people. It's very, very fitting. I miss my mansion. I miss living somewhere that was beautiful and fun, because it was fun. It was so big that you could live there for an entire year and still not know where everything was and discover where everything is supposed to be. Especially the top floor, because the top floor was dilapidated as hell. So there were there was like a, not basement, but like a lower split level. And then the first level, second level, third level. Third level was dilapidated as hell. And then there was the bell tower and there was the clock tower. So there was 2 towers. And the entire house was made of marble, and I miss having something really fun to do. So there was like the attic, the top floor. I call it the attic. It's not really an attic, it's just a top floor. There was rooms in it. It stretched on forever, and it was just full with so much crap. Just that entire floor. Before you even got to the towers, you didn't even have to go to the towers. I went to the towers like maybe 3 times because you just didn't need to go to the towers. The entire floor was just filled with dark, heavy furniture, and there was like a lion head bathtub, and all the cupboards were filled with clothes, and there was chests of clothes and chests of this and papers, and you never had to go very far, and it was always a fun time to be up there, and you didn't even have to go up there. The entire house was fun. There was There was a secret garden, there was a swimming pool, there was a sauna, there was a games room, there was a drawing room, there was a den, there was everything. There was, when you went up the main staircase, there was this giant stained glass window of a woman with flowers, and when the sun hit it exactly right, it would spew prisms of rainbows all over the floor, and I just loved that as well. So, I don't know. I used to live in a nice big marble mansion in the mountains with beautiful gardens and beautiful this, and you could go horse riding every day, and now I just live here in the shitty Australian outback against my will. So, huzzah. Anyway, this is Casey signing off for the night. As always, stay weird out there, stay safe, and have a good night. I know that I won't, because I am in a shit mood. Anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.